Hello, I'm Dr. Annadale, and I teach philosophy at Mount St. Mary's University and Seminary in Emmitsburg, Maryland. A little while ago, I was having dinner with some seminarians, and one of them asked me if I had any advice, any one piece of philosophical insight that I would ask them to carry forward into their study of theology and their life of ministry. And I thought immediately of a passage from the French philosopher Gilson to the effect that piety is no substitute for technique. And by this, I explained, I mean that personal holiness will not dispense you from the obligation to pursue excellence in other fields. Having a rich spiritual life and a devout prayer life will not by themselves make you an excellent artist, scientist, accountant, etc. And the same holds true for philosophy. Philosophical knowledge will not replace knowledge from the special sciences. So there's still plenty of hard work that you have to do in order to become excellent in these other fields of life, which you require in order to become all things to all people, to be a good minister. In other words, religious and philosophical standards will not replace the standards that are built into other fields of study. You have to become excellent in those fields on their own terms. Afterwards, I looked up the specific quote from Gilson, and it comes from his 1939 essay, The Intelligence in the Service of Christ the King. And I'd like to share with you a long quote from it by way of wrapping up this reflection. Gilson writes, "If one wishes to practice science for God, the first condition is to practice science for itself, or as if one practiced it for itself, since that is the only way of acquiring it. The same holds for philosophy. It is self-delusion to think to serve God by taking a certain number of formulas which bespeak what one knows ought to be said, without understanding why what they say is true. It is not even serving him to denounce errors, however false they may be, while showing that one does not even understand in what way they are false. The same thing holds for art, for it is necessary to possess it before pretending to put it at the service of God. We are told that it is faith which constructed the cathedrals of the Middle Ages. Without doubt, but faith would have constructed nothing at all if there had not also been architects. And if it is true that the facade of Notre Dame of Paris is a yearning of the soul toward God, that does not prevent its also being a geometrical work. It is necessary to know geometry in order to construct a facade which may be an act of love. Catholics who confess the eminent value of nature because it is a work of God, let us therefore show our respect for it by positing as the first rule of our action that piety never dispenses with technique. For technique is that without which even the most lively piety is incapable of using nature for God. No one, nor anything, obliges the Christian to busy himself with science, art, or philosophy, for other ways of serving God are not wanting. But if that is the way of serving God that he has chosen, the end itself which he proposes for himself in studying them binds him to excellence. He is bound by the very intention which guides him to become a good savant, a good philosopher, or a good artist. That is for him the only way of becoming a good servant." That's from Etienne Gilson's 1939 essay, The Intelligence in the Service of Christ the King. Thanks for watching today. Goodbye.